as we begin the historical books, the book of Joshua begins those books with the main figure of the book, Yehoshua. Yehoshua, or Joshua, means Yahweh will save. And it is significant that Joshua, I believe, becomes a type of Jesus Christ, who brings us ultimate salvation. Yeshua is the name Jesus in Hebrew, and it is significant when we look at the New Testament that it's through Jesus Christ that we receive eternal salvation. In the book of Hebrews, in that second warning section, beginning in chapter 3 and going through chapter 4, verse 13. In chapter 4, the writer of Hebrews is talking about how there is a rest for the people of God. And this rest is a permanent rest. It's a permanent Shabbat, a permanent Sabbath. And he says in verse 8 that if Joshua, actually Jesus in the Greek, Jesus, referring back through the Greek name to the Hebrew Yehoshua or Joshua, if Jesus had given rest, that is Joshua, there would not have been another day after these days that the writer would be speaking of Psalm chapter 95, when he says that there is yet a rest for the people of God. If Joshua had given the final rest, why speak of another rest? The writer of Hebrews concludes there is remaining a sabbatismos, a Sabbath then, for the people of God. And the one who enters into his rest, that is the rest that Christ has accomplished, he then will cease from his own works, working his own way into salvation, and rest in God's finished work in Jesus Christ. So the writer of Hebrews concludes in that second warning section, let us be diligent then to enter into that rest. And so as believers in Jesus Christ, we rest in his finished work, a work that he has fulfilled, that Joshua typified, bringing in that final and permanent rest whereby we do not work to gain our salvation. Our works must follow our salvation as a result of having been saved. It's sort of like if there's fire in the fireplace, there should be smoke coming out of the chimney. The smoke is simply the result of the fire, and the result of faith in Jesus Christ leads to works that God created that we should walk in. The writer of Paul says in Ephesians chapter 2 verse 10, but it's by grace that we are saved, totally apart from human effort or human works. Our works only follow as a result of having entered into the finished work of Christ through faith in him. This is where I believe Romans and James beautifully come together, and that Romans describes in a sense how you get fire in the fireplace. It's through faith alone in Jesus Christ, not by works of law, that we are justified. But the book of James teaches, once having been justified, that justification is to manifest itself in works that show the fruit of faith. And so I often say, if there's fire in the fireplace, if we truly have justification and saving faith through Jesus Christ, then the works should follow as an automatic response of that saving faith that we have in Christ. That's how I see the book of James, and I liken James to smoke coming out of the chimney, and Romans to fire in the fireplace.